Now, fans, we're going into the first half of the third inning of this ball game. It's a beautiful sight up here in our Mutual booth as we look out onto the field. The Yankees out there in their white uniforms, pegging that ball around, the outfield getting all set. Here's the umpire at the plate, Ed Rommel, cleaning off home plate, and here's the first man to bat, Lanier, stepping into the batter's box. A chunky fellow, number 21 in red on the back of his gray uniform. We're starting the third inning with the score. The Cardinals 1, the Yankees nothing, and Spud Chandler is getting a sign. Here's the pitch, and it is a nice strike right in there around his knees, and it's called. Manager Billy Southworth is coaching at third, and Mike Gonzalez is coaching at first. Here comes the next pitch to Lanier, and Lanier swings a bouncing ball to Gordon's left. He's up with it. There goes the peg. He's out. The play going from Gordon to Etten, and the Yankees pegged the ball around. The play was not close. 1 out. Well, we're back to the top of the St. Louis batting order again, fans. Klein, who flied out to center field the first time up. A little fellow who is a great little ball player is coming up to the plate, number 2 on the back of his gray uniform. There's 1 out and nobody on. Yankees talk it up out there in the infield. Now Chandler's getting ready. Here's the pitch, and there's a very wide pitch that he couldn't have hit with a broom. It was way outside, and it's ball 1. Yankee outfield playing this hitter straight away. They're not a bit to the left or a bit more to the right. Chandler gets all ready again. Here comes the pitch. There's a smash on the ground to Gordon right at him. There goes the peg. He's an easy out. The play going from Gordon to Etten, and now Dickey pegs that ball around the Yankee infield. That's 2 gone. Now the next man to come up is going to be the center fielder Walker. In his last start, which Chandler won 2-1 in 14 innings, just to show you the shape this fellow is in, he retired 15 out of the last 16 men to face him in order. Truly one of baseball's great pitchers. Here's Walker up, a left-hand batter. He flied to Steinbach the first time. Strike right down the middle, it's called. Walker steps out of the batter's box now to get a little dirt on his hands. Now he has his cap off. Right down below us. Here he is, right down below us. Yankee infield talks it up. Johnson playing in close at third. Chandler getting all ready again. Here it is. There's a swing, a fly ball. Fairly deep to right field, but it should be caught. Steinbach is under it. And he grabs the ball to retire the side. And so it is 3 up and 3 down in the first half of the third inning. Nothing across. No runs and no hits. And that ends the first half of the third inning. Listen, you retired officers, mates, engineers, able-bodied seamen, and men who can cook or bake. You men who have ever had experience working on any ship in any part of the world. The United States Merchant Marine is performing the biggest transportation job in world history. Every day, 5 new ships are launched, sailing in convoys under the protection of the Navy and Air Force. They're delivering vitally needed supplies to our fighting men on all fronts. You men are needed for the Merchant Marine. The pay is excellent. Able seamen make from $200 to $300 a month. Engineers get from $250 to $850, practically all velvet. Food, room, medical, and dental attention are free. You sleep on modern steel spring bunks, eat fresh meat, fresh vegetables, bread and pies prepared by skilled cooks. You're a hero without uniform, performing a job on which the fate of this country depends. Do something today you'll be proud of. Send a collect telegram to Merchant Marine, Washington, D.C. Just give your name, address, and rating. Or if you can't send a telegram, mail a postcard to the Merchant Marine, Washington, D.C. Uncle Sam will send you complete information. Now we'll pause for station identification, the broadcast of the first game of the World Series. This is Mutual.
This is WGN, the voice of the people, Chicago.
Now this is Bob Elson greeting you again from Yankee Stadium in New York. The first man to bat for the Yanks in the third is Nick Etten, the left-hand hitter, and he took the first pitch wide for a ball. There's a ground ball down to Martin Marion. Comes in, picks the ball up. There goes the peg, and it was wide, but the first baseman grabbed the ball with one hand and kept his foot on the bag to get the nod from the umpire. Marion's throw almost pulled him off the bag, but they got him at first. Etten is out. 1 gone. Here's Johnny Lindell, who was with the Yankees last year in the role of a pitcher. This big fella has really shown remarkable ability as a ball hawk in the outfield. He's a fine hitter, and he's playing in center field today. Big right-hand batter, batting .245 for the season. There's a swing and a foul. It slides off his bat and rolls on the ground off to the left, and it's 1 strike on big Johnny Lindell. This fellow is a giant. He's well over 6 feet tall. And when he gets a hold of that ball, he can really give it a ride. 1 out and nobody on. Last half of the third inning, score 1-0, Cardinals. Here comes the pitch. There's a smash foul into the stands back of first base, and it's 2 strikes on Lindell. Max Lanier with a record of 15 wins and 7 defeats. A beautiful curve ball, a swell change of pace, and a nifty fast one is on the mound for the Redbirds against one of baseball's outstanding pitchers, Spurgeon Chandler. Borowski at third, Marion at short, Klein at second, Sanders at first, Litwater in left field, Walker in center field, Musial in right field. We'll repeat these lineups occasionally during the ball game for those of you who are tuning into the broadcast late. Wherever you happen to be listening, down there in the Texas Panhandle or up in Oregon or up in Maine, wherever you happen to be. Here's the next pitch. There is a swing and a miss. The catcher dropped the ball, picks it up and throws to first, and Lindell is out. He swung at a low curve ball. The catcher dropped the ball and had to throw him out at first, and there's two gone. Now here is Spud Chandler coming up to the plate. Chandler gets a nice hand, and well he should. With his marvelous record for New York this year of 20 wins against only 4 losses. That's right-handed and incidentally is also a good hitting pitcher. Here comes the first pitch to him. He hits a drive into left field. It's a base hit. First hit for the Yankees. A line drive over Marion's head. Litwater played the ball on the first bounce and fired it into second base. I no sooner got the words out of my mouth that he was a good hitter than bango, he cracked a line drive for the first Yankee hit. So there is hit number 1 off of Lanier. It brings up Steinbach, who is playing in right field for the Yankees and leading off. Man on first base and 2 gone here in the last half of the third. Cardinals lead in the first game of the World Series 1-0. The outfield playing Steinbach, not too deep. Lanier getting set. Here's the first pitch. It's a spike. It's called. It's right in around his knee. Center fielder Walker for St. Louis is playing Steinbach right in line with the pitcher's box in second base. Straight away. And on first base and 2 gone. Here's the next pitch. It's fast and low, almost in the dirt. Walker Cooper straightens out, fires that ball back to Chunky Max Lanier, a left-hander on the mound for the Cardinals. And on first, 1 hit for the Yankees, 2 hits for St. Louis. Lanier gets set out there again. Here's the next pitch. It's a swing and a miss. A very sharp curve across the letters that Steinbach went for and couldn't connect with, and it is a ball 1, strike 2 count on Tucker. Tucker's been in the National League and in the American League. This lad has really been around. He's always been a great defensive outfielder, never really outstanding with the bat, although this year hitting just against left-hand pitching, he has done pretty well with an average of close to 270. Here's the pitch. He took a swing at an outside pitch and fouled it on the ground off to the left, and it's ball 1, strike 2 for Steinbach. Those of you who happen to be tuning in to the broadcast late, the Cardinals scored their run in the second inning. Cooper leading off with a hit, advancing to second on a sacrifice, stayed at second while Saunders struck out. Litwater walked, and Marion doubled down the right field line. That's how the run scored. The score is 1-0 in the last half of the third. And on first now for the Yankees, they've just made their first hit. Here's the pitch to Steinbach. He struck him out. A very sharp curve around the letters, and Steinbach is out on strike. So that is strikeout number 3 for Max Lanier. It leaves a man on first base. Steinbach went down swinging, and it is no runs and 1 hit, and fans the totals at the end of 3 innings of play in the first game of the 1943 World Series. The Cardinals, 1 run, 2 hits. The New York Yankees, no runs and 1 hit. You know, the Yankees skimmed the cream off the money pot in 9 of their 14 postseason bids. Between 1927 and 1941 inclusive, they took 8 titles, grinding up 6 different National League clubs. The Cubs and the Giants going back for a second dose. They swept 5 of these series in 4 straight. In 2, they lost only 1 game. Don't underestimate the Yankees, regardless of what happens in this first game of the 1943 World Series. The Cardinals have the best World Series record of any National League club, playing in more than 1 series. 4 victories out of 6, and 2 out of 3 over the famous Yankees. Now, fans, the first game of the World Series with the score 1-0 Cardinals is going into the first half of the 4th. And the first man to bat is baseball's leading hitter, Stan Musial, the right fielder of the Cardinals, who flied out the first time up. He flied out to the center fielder, Lindell. Stands far back from the plate. Here's the first pitch from Spud, and it's high and outside for a ball. Southworth, great manager of the Cardinals, number 30 on the back of his uniform, coaches at third, while the great manager of the Yankees does all of his masterminding from the dugout. Here's the pitch, and there's a bouncing ball straight at Gordon. He's up with it. There goes the peg. He is an easy out. The play was not close. Gordon to it. Now here's Walker Cooper, one of the famous Cooper brothers. Morton Cooper, the outstanding right-hander for the Cardinals, who won over 20 ball games, and who a lot of people thought that Southworth would gamble on in this first game. He's had a little trouble with his arm, however, and Lanier was the starting pitcher. Here's the first pitch to Cooper, and it is a ball low and outside. Cooper, by the way, has one of the 2 Cardinal hits so far in the ball game. It's a real pitcher's battle and a real battle between 2 great teams. Here comes the pitch. It's a high bouncing ball to the left of the shortstop. He's up with the ball. There goes the peg. He's out. The play going from Crissetti to Etten, and it was not close. He was out by 10 feet. So there's 2 gone, and the Yankees pepper that ball around the infield. Now here's Whitey Karofsky, third baseman of the Cardinals. He sacrificed the first time up, a bunt to the pitcher. He's batting now with 2 out and nobody on. Here's the first pitch from Spud, and it's a strike, letter high. Right in over the plate and up around the letters, and Karofsky watched it go by. Rommel of the American League is the umpire back of the plate. Deans Reardon of the National at first, Joe Rue of the American at second, and Bill Stewart of the National League is working at third. Karofsky waits. Here's the pitch, and there is a smash on the ground right through the box. Gordon gets it. There goes the peg. He's out. At first base, the play going from Gordon to Etten, and it retires the side. Fans, that ball was hit very hard, but the second baseman was playing him over near the bag, so it was not a hard play to make. It's a case of 3 up and 3 down, nothing across in the first half of the 4th. Red, you have a message?
Yeah, Bob, that quick play by Tuck Stainback that threw to Bill Dickey, which retired the Cardinals in the scoring half of the second inning, is one of the outstanding highlights of the game so far. Anyhow, it gets my vote, just as shaving the all-Gillette way gets Tuck's. Stainback says that he never realized how thoroughly comfortable shaving could be until he learned to prepare his beard with Gillette lather shaving cream and ease it off with the Gillette Blue Blade. Friends, I'm sure you'll say much the same when you try shaving this quicker, more refreshing way. Gillette shaving cream is an amazing beard softener. It holds an uncommon amount of water and keeps your whiskers saturated. Do yourself a good turn. Shave the all-Gillette way and see how much better you look and feel. Ask your dealer for Gillette lather shaving cream. That's it, Bob.
All right, Red, fine. Now we're going into the last half of the 4th inning, fans, of this World Series game. Boy, this place is really seething with excitement. Here's Crissetti up. The score is 1-0. Max Lanier getting his sign. Here's the pitch. It's fast and true, right through the middle for a called strike. 1 strike on Frankie Crissetti, the nimble little shortstop of the New York Yankees, playing regularly this year in the absence of Phil Rizzuto. Gets all ready again. Here's the next pitch. There is one that's a little bit low and inside. Lanier, working most of the time with an overarm delivery, can really powder that fastball in there. And he puts practically as much speed on his curveball as he does on his fastball. It's a ball, 1 strike, 1 count on Frankie Crissetti. Here's the pitch, and there's a swing and a foul. It's out of play. It's in the stands to the right, and it's ball 1 and strike 2 on the batter. Left-hander on the mound for the Cardinals. As I told you before, the Yankees fared better against left-hand pitching this year than they did against right-handed pitching. 3 right-handers pitched 1-hit games against them: Orville Grove, Ross, and Sundra. While the best left-handed performance, one of the best, turned in against them was turned in by Neuhauser of Detroit here in the stadium when he struck out 14 men. Ball 1, strike 2 count on Crissetti. Here is a slow ball, and there is a ball hit sharply to the left of the second baseman. Here's the throw to the first base. He's safe at first. Lanier covered first base and took the throw from Klein, and it is safe at first. And let's see how the official scorer is going to score the play. Lanier lobbed up a big balloon ball that time today for the first slow ball he has thrown, and sharp little Frankie Crissetti promptly cracked that ball between first and second. The second baseman, Klein, was lucky to get the ball at all. He threw the ball to first base where the pitcher raced over to cover. They arrived at practically the same time, and I believe it'll be scored as a base hit. No, the official scorer decides that Lanier should have held it. So, Red, while you're marking your scorecard, and I'll do the same, mark that as an error. It is the first error in the ball game. It's an error for Lanier. Klein's throw, the official score decides, was good enough, even though it was a little bit high, that he should have held it. So Crissetti is on first base with an error. There's the tying run on first base, and now here's Bill Johnson up. He was the strikeout victim the first time up. That was a hard play to make at first. Here's the pitch. There's the runner going down. There goes the throw. It's very high. Goes into center field, and it is safe at second base. Walker Cooper made a bad throw to second base as Crissetti went down for the first stolen base, of the series, and the only thing that saved Walker Cooper an error and that would give the runner an additional base was the fact that the center fielder came racing in to back the play up, and Crissetti, who had slid in, could not get up in time to get to third. It's a steal, the first steal of the series. Crissetti on second base now with the tying run fans. It was a ball one count. Walker Cooper trying to cut down the first theft of the 1943 World Series, just threw the ball into center field. Man on second. Ball one count on Johnson. Nobody out. Last half of the fourth. And they're getting ready. Here's the pitch. A bunt down the first base line. First baseman picks the ball up, tries to get him, and misses him, and it's safe at first. It'll be scored as a hit. A man on first, a man on third for the Yankees. It was a beautiful bunt down the first base line. It was bunted rather hard, and it went almost down to the bag. It was picked up by the first baseman Sanders about 8 feet from first base and about 1 foot inside the line fair. He grabbed the ball, reached for the runner at the same time. He did not touch him, and there's a man on first and a man on third in this fourth inning of the World Series, and fans, the Yankee tying runners on third base with nobody out. Base hit, man on first, man on third, and Charlie Keller up. He was a strikeout victim the first time up, and Chunky Max Lanier, who is really a desperado out there on the mound when he's cornered. In other words, he has the heart of a lion out there. This fella, nothing bothers him. He is really on a spot today. Man on first, a man on third, and Keller up. Ball. It's low and outside, and it's ball one. On that roller down the first baseline, it was just that type of a ground ball that neither one of them could decide who was to make the play. The pitcher didn't know whether to try to get it. The first baseman didn't know whether to come off the bag or not. He finally did, and when he tried to reach him, it was too late. There is a tremendous swing by Keller and a miss. Lanier bearing down for all he is worth to try to prevent this tying run from coming in here in the last half of the fourth inning. The Redbirds of St. Louis, the defending champions, lead 1-0 in this World Series game at New York. Man on first, a man on third, and St. Louis has two pitchers working now in the bullpen. Man on first, a man on third. Here's the pitch, and Keller cracks the ground ball to the second baseman. Over to second, out, back over to first, out, and it's a double play. The tying run scored. It was a beautiful double play that time, fans. I did not think they'd get the man at first, but they did. It was a ball hit very sharply to the right of the second baseman, Klein, who raced over to the right, picked that ball up, flipped it to Martin Marion, one of the great pivot men in baseball. He fired that ball to first base in time to double Charlie Keller, and it's a double play. It's 1-1 now. It's anybody's ball game here in the first game of the World Series, and boy, what a ball game this is. So the run has scored. Keller hit into a double play, second to short to first, and here is Joe Gordon up. The first pitch to Joe is high and wide, and it's ball one. First game of the World Series is all tied up at 1-1. The Cardinals scored in the second, and the Yankees have scored in the fourth. Here gets ready again. Here's the next pitch. Gordon takes one low inside, a curveball, breaking in sharply and low to a right-hand hitter, and it's ball two. Each side has now made 2 hits. Each side has made 1 run. Lanier gets ready. Here's the pitch. There is a foul. It's out of play. It's back into the screen. Ball hit foul by Gordon, batting with 2 out and nobody on, and the tying run has scored. Max Lanier, a chunky left-hander working for St. Louis, and Spurgeon Chandler working for the Yankees. Boy, this is some ball game. Gets already out there again. Here's the next pitch, fast and high. It's the ball. Ball 3 and strike 1. He doesn't want the ball, and umpire Rommel gives him a new one. Well, we certainly wish, Red and I do, and Bill, that you could be here with us, fans, wherever you happen to be listening to this ball game today, which is being sent around the world by Gillette. We hope that we can make it just as good a picture for you as we possibly can, because, believe me, it's a most exciting game. Ball 3 and strike 1. Here's the next pitch, and Gordon slams the long one way back into left field. It may be. It's way back. It's a home run. Well, fans, Joe Gordon just greeted that 3-1 pitch like a country cousin. Brother, did he give it a ride. It went over the sign marked 402 feet from home plate, and the Yankees are in the lead by a score of 2-1 on Gordon's home run smash, and was that a wallop? Joe Gordon just homered over the 402-foot sign in the lower stands in left field. Now here's Bill Dickey up. Score 2-1, 2 out. There's a spike. It's a slow curve, and it's right in around his knee. Score 2-1. Last half of the fourth inning. Chandler getting already out there again. Here comes the next pitch, and Dickey takes a high one that time for the ball. It's ball one and strike one. Well, this has been quite an inning. This last half of the fourth inning has been quite an inning. We've seen the picture change entirely from a 1-0 Cardinal lead to a 2-1 Yankee lead. Gets all ready again. Here's the next one. It's wide, a curveball. Ball two and strike one. And again we see, moved into the picture early in the first game of the World Series, that old Yankee power again. Home run. By the way, that is Gordon's third World Series homer. Here it gets all set again. Here's the next pitch. Dickey swings. It's a fly ball in the infield that Martin Marion should have no trouble with at all. He's back under it and has it to retire the side. So, fans, that most exciting inning is over here at New York with the Yankees getting 2 runs on 1 hit and an error, and the score at the end of 4 innings of play, the Yankees 2, the Cardinals 1.
Friends, the men and women of Gillette are very proud of the Army Navy E recently awarded for their outstanding war production work, and they are out to break the records that won them this coveted citation.
You know, talking about the Yankee effectiveness against left-hand pitching, I told you that it's really a bugaboo because they've done better this year against left-handers than right-handers. There is one, however, important note. That is, the Yankees hit 100 homers this year, and they hit only 16 of those homers against left-hand pitching. Now, that might be one notable spot in which they did not do as good against southpaws as they did against the other variety. They hit 100 homers, and only 16 of those homers were made against left-hand pitching. Well, we're going into the first half of the 5th inning. World Series. Score 2-1 Yankees. Still anybody's ball game. Chandler out there on the mound getting in his practice throws, and the first man to bat for the Cardinals is going to be the first baseman, Sanders, who's now coming up to the plate. Billy Southworth was just talking with him, and now there goes Bill walking down the third base line toward the coaching box at third. Crissetti was safe on an error. Johnson beat out an infield hit in that last half of the fourth, and the run scored while Keller was hitting into a double play. That made 2 out, and then Gordon smashed the long homer, the first homer of the series, into the left field stands, 402 feet away, and the score 2-1 Yankees. Now here's Sanders up. He was a strikeout victim the first time up, and there is a beautiful pitch. Slow, a curve, over the outside corner, knee high, and it's a called strike. Nobody on and nobody out, first half of the 5th. The Yankees lead 2-1. Chandler gets ready. Here's the next pitch. Saunders cracks a ground ball to the right of Gordon. A backhand stab. There goes the peg. He is safe. He beat it out, but what a miraculous play. What a play by Gordon, who went back to second base and made a backhand stab of that ball. And now, as the Yankees throw the ball back to the pitcher, the ball gets away, and Sanders goes to second on the error. What a play that was. It was a ground ball hit sharply through the box, and it looked like it was going right into center field. It looked like the ball was a sure hit. Gordon made a miraculous backhand, gloved hand stab of the ball, straightened up and fired it, and he just beat the play to first base by a fraction of a step. Just a fraction of a step. The umpire, Beans Reardon of the National League, was right down over the bag to watch that play, and it is safe at first and a base hit. On that throw, which got away there in the Yankee infield, Etten is charged with an error. Man on second base, it's the tying run. Here's a break for the Cardinals, a base hit, and then an error that got away in the infield, and Sanders, alert, on his toes, toward for second base. So there's man in a scoring position, and here is Danny Litwiler up. He walked the first time up. And on second base, Chandler ready. Here's the pitch. There's a swing and a miss. Ball right in around the letters, and he swung hard and missed it by a foot. Chandler bearing down, really giving the Cardinals a look at a great assortment out there on the mound today. Fastballs, curves, screwballs, change of pace, everything. Man on second is staying close to the bag. There's a fastball, and there's a fly ball hit into right center field. Watch the man on second. He might advance. The ball is deep. It's caught. And here is the runner racing for third. The throw is cut off by the shortstop on the way to third, and it's safe at third. It was a long fly ball hit into right center field by Litwater. The throw to third base was cut off by Gordon, who ran over back of the shortstop's position, and the tying run is now on third for the Redbirds with one out. Here's Martin Marion, who had a very telling hit the first time up. He slammed a line drive double down the first baseline that was too hot for our good friend Nick Etten to handle. Nick had to leap for the ball. It just brushed his glove, rolled into foul territory, and that drove in the first run. Now here's Marion in the key spot again. A 2-1 ball game, favor of the Yankees at New York, and the Cardinals have a man on third. Here is the pitch, and there is a ball, low and outside, and it's ball one. Naturally, the Yankee infield is drawn in close. The all-important thing here is keep that man on third. Cut off the possible tying run. The outfield playing Marion straight away. This fella is the type of hitter who's apt to hit at any place. Here comes the pitch, and it's very wide. It looks very much as though Chandler might be willing to risk losing this man rather than let him hit it a good ball. Man on third and one out in the first half of the fifth inning at New York. A capacity crowd watching a great ball game. Just what it promised to be. We hope that you're enjoying every play wherever you happen to be listening to this World Series broadcast. He gets ready again. Here it is. It's a ball. The third time that he missed the plate, and Chandler is too good a pitcher to miss the plate by that margin 3 straight times. He is definitely willing to lose this man rather than let him hit it. Hope that they can get the next man to come up, Lanier, to hit into a double play. Let's watch this one. No, that time he came through with a beautiful strike. Right through with it, right down the middle, right above his knees, and it's a ball 3, strike 1 count. A man on third for St. Louis. One out. The score 2-1 the Yankees, first half of the fifth. Chandler gets all ready again. Here it comes. And it is a foul. It's out of play. It's in the stands down the first baseline. And now Chandler has worked up a count of ball 3 and strike 2 on Martin Marion. Tall Slats Marion, number 4 in red on the back of his gray uniform, has a chance here to come through twice already in the first game of the World Series. He did it the first time with the double. He drove in a run. And now the Redbirds are trailing by a run, and there's a teammate perched on third base. That teammate is Sanders, who had a hit, advanced to second on an error, and went to third on a fly ball to deep right center field. Here comes the pitch. It's a swing and a bouncing ball in the infield. Gordon has it, holds the runner, throws the batter out. 2 gone. A bouncing ball in the infield to Gordon. Came in on the ball, picked it up, took one look at third, drove Sanders back, and then fired the ball to first base to retire Marion. So, fans, there's 2 gone now. That runner is still on third. Well, here is Max Lanier coming up to the plate. Stepping around to the left side. He bounced out the first time up. He has a chance to tie up his own ball game here if he can get a hit. Spud Chandler's ready. Here's the pitch, and there's a swing, and a rather feeble swing it was at a sharp curve, waist high, and it's 1 strike on Max Lanier. Cardinals scored their run in the second. The Yankees scored their run in the fourth. The score is 2-1. Cardinals have a man on third. Here comes the next pitch. There's a swing and a miss, and it is 2 strikes, and it looks very much as though Spurgeon Chandler is measuring Mr. Lanier here for a strikeout victim. He's fooled him completely on 2 pitches. Man on third, 2 strikes on the batter, 2 out. That's a very important run to St. Louis. We're in the first half of the fifth inning. Chandler gets all ready again. Here comes the next pitch, and there goes a blooper out into left center field. It's a hit. The game is tied up. Fans, I think that one incident alone can exemplify why baseball is our national pastime. Here is a World Series game that millions are listening to and that thousands are watching in New York. Here is a man practically measured for that next pitch. He looks bad on 2. The tying run is on third. He's got the pitcher who is batting just where he wants him. And bingo, there goes a base hit out into left center field. This is anybody's ball game. It's all tied up. Here's Klein up. There's a swing and a bouncing ball at Johnson at third. The play is to second. It's a forced play. It retires the side, and Max Lanier is forced coming into second base. But that great little pitcher came through in the clutch with a base hit, and he tied up this ball game. And what a ball game it is, and what a great ball game it should be for the last half for Red Barber to tell you about. Now let me check my totals on that inning again. 1 run and 2 hits. The hits in the inning were by Sanders and by Lanier, who came through in the clutch with a telling hit. And the ball game at the end of the first half of the fifth inning is all tied up. My figures show 2 runs and 4 hits for St. Louis, and 2 runs and 2 hits for the Yankees. The Yankees, of course, have had one less turn than the others. 2 runs and 3 hits, and they are coming to bat now in the last half of the fifth inning for this great World Series game. Score is tied at 2-2, and the run in that inning, of course, was unearned because of the error that moved the man around. Well, fans, this is Bob Elson getting away from the microphone now and turning it over, our mutual mic, to my good friend and pal, Red Barber, who I've worked with for so many years, and it's a great privilege, and I enjoy being here with him once again. I know that he's going to give you a wonderful story of the last half of this exciting ball game, as only he can. Come in, Red. I know the fans will enjoy your story of what should be a most exciting last half of a ball game.
Thank you, Bob, very, very much. Believe me, folks, it's a great ball game. 2 great pitches going, 2 great teams meeting, and believe me also, the Gillette Blue Blade really has what it takes to make shaving quick and refreshing. All even as they move into the last half of the fifth inning. Big Nick Etten, a left-hand hitter, crouches, crowding the plate from behind, a wide-open stance. Max Lanier pumps, bends at the knees, the left-handed pitches, fastball low for ball 1. All tied at 2-2. 2 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error. St. Louis, 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error for New York. First game of the 1943 World Series. Outfield deep, round toward right on Etten. Swings and tips it foul, right back into catcher Walker Cooper's mitt. 1-1. Max is stocky, blue-eyed, and those eyes peer out at you from behind overhanging bony eyebrows. He's a tough competitor. Bends, comes down, there's a curve swung on and foul back. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Lanier has everything that a pitcher needs in his assortment. A fastball, a curve, a let-up pitch or a change of pace. And he has, in addition, a knuckleball, which he throws very hard. It's hard to see it unless you're looking for it. He's developed it this year. Works. Fastball low inside, down across the shins. It's 2-2. Etten's stance is so open that his heels are together. In other words, if you drew a line between his ankles, it'd go from dugout to dugout. It is the most open stance of any major league hitter today. Crouches, he's a big fella. Swings, hits a ground ball halfway to second base, and Klein juggles it, loses it, and Etten is safely on. The ball took a trick bounce, perhaps. At any rate, Klein, as he was all set to throw, suddenly could not come up with it, and it is an error, of course. Ball hit right at the second baseman, and Etten is on. This is the second error for St. Louis. It's the 3rd error of the ball game. Here now is Johnny Lindell, who last year this time was sitting in the Yankee dugout as a pitcher who wasn't good enough to pitch. This year, he's played all 3 outfields, finally settled down in center. 6 feet 4 inches, right-hand batter. Lanier throws to first, not in time. Etten back. This fellow has a very good move over to first base. Baseball, we call it the balk move. It's hard to tell when he's going to throw to the plate or throw to the base. The pitch, there's a bunt down toward first and across the line foul. Sacrifice was on, fouled off, and it's a strike. Nobody out. The Yankees are not hesitating in this tough ball game against this left-hander to go after 1 run. All tied at 2-2. Lindell goes for the Yankee batter's rosin bag. During the Yankee batting practice, Joe Gordon, as Lindell stepped in the batter's box, began singing a little song. It was a variation on the popular number of Johnny Got a Zero. Gordon was singing, I hope Johnny doesn't get a zero, meaning Lindell, and I hope he didn't go, say, 0 for 3 or 0 for 4. As a fast call strike up by the hands. Strike 2. Lindell, I think, is a prime example as to the great moves that McCarthy has made this year in rebuilding the Yankee ball club. Took a fellow who was a pitcher last year, made him his center fielder, opening game of the World Series this. Etten off first, nobody out. Lindell swings and misses and is struck out. Curveball sharply biting in under the hands. Left-hander coming right into a right-hand hitter. And this for Lanier is his 5th strikeout, which is eloquent testimony as to the stuff that he has this afternoon in working 4 1/3 innings. And there's a great round of applause that is sweeping all through the stadium as Bud Chandler steps in. Chandler, who with 2 men out in the 3rd inning, singles sharply to left field, the first Yankee base hit. Lanier checks the runner. Now pitches. Chandler takes a strike. That one came in over the outside, just above the knees. Max keeps his stuff pretty low. Outfield a couple of steps around toward the left on Chandler. Play this fellow to pull. Pitch, swung on and missed. Fastball. Strike two. It isn't often that a man reaches the peak in two major sports. Chandler has done so. In his college days, he was a great football player, halfback at Georgia. Now, of course, he's riding the crest of the pitching wave. Best record, earned run, neither major league, almost 20 years. Pitch is low inside, 4-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Art Fletcher, coaching at third for the Yankees. Earl Coombs, coaching at first. Sanders at first base holds the bag tightly against Eppin, the runner. 2-2 tie, 1 man out. Daniil comes down in position, checks the runner, delivers. There's a swing and miss for strike 3. And right after this error at second base, all Daniil has done has been strike out the next 2 and run his K's in the scoring book. That's the symbol that most everyone uses to indicate a batter struck out, to 6. The outfield remains around toward left. Here's Tuck Stainback, put one time and shifting around through the majors, played with the Cardinals, whom he's opposing at the moment. Right-hand hitter, overly close stance, swings and hits it down foul. Ball trickles over and dies halfway to the Cardinal dugout. The Cardinal dugout is on the first base side. The Yankees, as always, use the dugout on the third base side here at the stadium. New ball put in play by plate umpire Eddie Rommel, former American League pitcher. Lanier takes the sign from Walker Cooper, who is staying low in his crouch. Left-hander ready, looks at first, throws now to the plate. There's a high fly ball that is banged into left center. Litwiler going over, Harry Walker going over, and it's left fielder Litwiler for the catch. That's all. No runs, no hits, 1 man left and 1 error. Last half of the 5th inning, and at the end of 5 innings, the totals, 2 runs on 4 hits and 2 errors. For the Cardinals, 2 runs, 3 hits and 1 error for the Yankees. And friends, this marks the 5th consecutive World Series that the Gillette Safe to Razor Company has been very proud to bring you these great classics.